Hello, folks. Welcome back to I'll Be On Tonight. If you joined me last week, I'm so happy to be chatting with you again. And if this is your first time, welcome. This is a history podcast where we talk about all things 19th and 20th century in British history, and sometimes a little bit of literature too. This season is called Eating Women, meaning women who eat, not women, not cannibalism. But anyways, so we are talking about the history of food and how it connects to the lives of women of the past, and also sprinkling it with a little bit of everything else. So today we're going to be talking about that very infamous dish, beans on toast. I have a few little announcements and disclaimers for you guys as well. Last episode, I conveniently said that this is a semi-weekly podcast, thinking that meant every other week, but clearly that means twice a week. And I realized that as I was listening back. So I just wanted to clarify that this podcast is a bi-monthly podcast. We're going to post an episode once every other week, so about twice a month. Sorry for that little hiccup, but I've marked it on the disclaimers on the first episode and on the website. And also, this episode is going to be a little bit more casual and crazy than the last one because of how the research process went. And without further ado, this is Trinity, a dear friend of mine and self-proclaimed beans on toast hater.
Yes, 100% hate it. Boo.
Did you try it when you were in the UK?
I refuse to, out of pure spite.
Do you like baked beans on their own?
Yes, but Southern.
But Southern baked beans,
otherwise
not British
it's just
baked beans.
mush. Like,
okay.
Why would I just want like a mush on like Anyway, we'll get into this.
Yeah, it's fair. They are very different. It's more of like a tomato sauce in the UK, and it's more of like a brown sugar barbecue.
Yeah,
here.
See, if it was like tomato, I would just go get pizza.
Instead of beans on toast.
Yeah, no. Who wants beans on their... Who wants tomatoes, on your bread in the morning? Like,
you know, it's super funny. There's actually going to be a person later in the podcast in their diary little thing who records eating tomatoes on toast the morning after they eat beans on toast for tea. So.
Why? Is it self-sabotage? Because I think it is.
No, it's a way to try and be economical about eating.
I think it's self-sabotage.
That's so fair. So here's a little bit of background on this episode. So like I said, it was supposed to be more straightforward history like the one that I gave in the suffragette episode. I encountered a lot of unexpected difficulties because apparently people don't want to have a lot of sources on beans on toast.
Why?
Which doesn't mean this episode isn't going to be great, because it is going to be full of knowledge and facts and entertaining stories about beans on toast, hopefully. But it's also going to be filled with the emotional roller coaster that was trying to get this information for you guys. So I'm going to take you with me. So, beans on toast. Would you like to know how beans became a mainstay in the British diet?
Yes, actually.
Specifically, haricot beans.
Haricot. Is that brown ones?
What do you think an haricot bean is?
Haricot? Well, I'm just going based off the pictures I've seen of beans on toast. I'm guessing it's like the brown ones that we normally see.
Yeah, it's called a navy bean, and it's like white without sauce. But when you cook it, I think it comes more beige, and then they put the sauce on it. So it's like brown.
Okay, so it's not like Southern ones, because Southern ones are brown before you cook them.
They're brown before you cook them. Yeah, these are navy beans, and they look a little bit more white. So yeah, we call them navy beans in the U.S., which is also already part of why this research was hard, because haricot beans sounds like haricot vert, which is how green beans are listed on those fancy restaurant menus.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I was like, nobody's mentioning the beans, the navy beans that go in the Heinz baked beans. No. And it's because they were calling them haricot beans.
Okay.
So if you ever run into something about haricot beans, not haricot vert, but haricot beans, it's spelled like haricot, but the French pronunciation is haricot.
Oh, okay. Well, fancy people, I guess.
Yeah, so historical inquiry note, always know what people call things regionally or just in the past. So lesson learned. So now we're going to turn to Ken Albala's History of Beans.
Oh my goodness. There's a history of beans?
There's a History of Beans book.
Does it talk about black eyed peas on New Year's?
I believe
the tradition
so.
Of it?
It talks about almost everything. And conveniently, the chapter on British beans is in a section entitled Mexico and the World.
Oh.
Which isn't where you would expect it.
No, not at all.
No. But first, we're going to talk about beans generally.
I love beans. One time I spent like an hour picking rocks out of beans at like a food donation area. That was weird.
It had rocks in the beans?
Yeah, like the way they got transported in had little rocks in them, and I had to hand pick them out.
Dang.
That was a little strange.
Well, hopefully there's no rocks in your Erico beans.
You can get a chipped tooth from your Erico beans.
We're going to talk about adulterated food on another episode, actually.
Whoa.
So that's what that would be. Are you ready? This book begins, the world is but a hill of beans. And then, ... What's more relevant to us? Beans are not enthusiastically embraced by everyone, though.
They make you fart.
That is an assumption that he actually addresses. And it's like, it's not actually super, like, they can make you gassy, but it's more of like an assumption because people have negative assumptions about beans.
But the song, beans are good for your heart. The more you eat, the more you fart. Beans are good for you too. The more you eat, the more you toot.
I like it because he talks about it really academically and says, like, there's this misconceived notion that beans cause increased flatulence. And I'm like,
they make you fart.
To say it so fancy. Quote, they are often deeply charged with social and ethnic bias. More than any other food, beans have been associated with poverty. There are simple economic reasons why this is so. In any culture where a proportion of people can obtain protein from animal sources, beans will be reviled as food fit only for peasants. Beans are indeed a cheap and economically efficient way to meet nutritional requirements. And for this reason, regions with a high population density or sparse grazing land aim to depend on beans. ... But in Europe and the so-called developed nations, only those people who could not afford meat depended on beans. Thus, beans became a marker of class, the quintessential peasant food, or poor man's meat. Thomas Wyatt, in the mid-16th century, masterfully evoked the image of rustic poverty as he described the country mouse who lives in a damp cave. Quote, she must lie cold and wet in sorry plight, and worse than that, bare meat there did remain, to comfort her when her house had dight, sometime a barley corn, sometime a bean.
Wait, are they about to do like the same thing British did with lobster?
Where they like...
It was like, because a long time ago, lobster used to be the poor man's fish.
And then it became like a rich person thing?
Yeah, because rich people were like, oh, I can get that cheap. So suddenly that has class. And so that's the reason why. So that's why I hate lobster. It tastes like the bottom of a boat.
But it's fancy people food.
But yeah, it used to be the poor man's food. But they were like, you know what? We want it to be our food because we can get it cheaper. So then they marketed it as the rich food. And we still today market it as the rich food. But it was the poor man's food.
That's so interesting. Beans on Toast did a really similar thing. Like the Heinz baked beans, they had this association that had already dated all the way back to the 16th century of like poor people who can't afford meat are going to rely on beans as a source of nutrients and protein. But when beans begin to be imported into the UK, we'll see that Fortnum and Mason markets them as like an exquisite gastronomic exclusive item. And so beans on toast kind of transcends class, which is probably why it's popular in some ways, but then it will come back around and then be more associated with poor people again.
Yep. Well, lobster didn't do that. But it was nicknamed the poor man's fish.
Until now it's not. Now it's the thing you get.
And now it tastes horrible, but it's cost you like $100 to get it. Wow,
guys, go buy lobster or beans on toast and tell us which one you like more.
Do you prefer?
Which quote unquote poor man's food do you like more? So then in the 17th and 18th century in the UK, cookbooks don't mention like dried New World beans, which Erico beans come from like the New World more. Mm-hmm. So we know that they didn't have baked beans then. We know they didn't have the dried ones. They just had like green beans, like the French green beans, the Erico rare. But then things happen. Things start to happen.
Beans start jumping.
First of all, the thing that starts to happen is in Ireland, because we gotta love Ireland. Sorry for the sticky note sound, guys.
So is the Irish. I tell you. I'm Irish before I say
it. She has Irish heritage.
I'm also very English.
So, in the 19th century, quote, in the 19th century and among the professedly economical cookbooks and in periods of social distress, dried bean recipes were published. Dun, dun, dun. So, there's this guy named Sawyer. I think it's Sawyer. And he set up soup kitchens in Ireland during the potato famine. And he had like a little cookbook he made called Shilling Cookery for the People. And he has a recipe for haricot vert. Or no, not haricot vert, just haricot beans, navy beans.
Like,
if you're American.
They're saying like he had a recipe for it as in like a baked bean kind of way? Not like with the baked bean ingredients, but like that kind of bean? Or are we talking more like...
So it's the bean that's in baked beans, but it's not a baked bean recipe.
So it's just like the beans themselves, like were they... Sorry, I'm trying to like understand. Were they dried out? Like,
Yeah, so
are they not as juicy?
It was like, you know how you can get the bags of dried beans at the grocery store now? So it's those, and then it's just how to cook them.
And then like they're dried out, so it's like not just like a mush.
No, so they're dried. Before they didn't have recipes for like how to cook dried beans in Britain. They had them how to cook, like, you know how the fresh green beans aren't as dry? They had recipes for that. But it wasn't until this one that they had ones of like, now you can take the more dried out ones.
Okay.
Here's the recipe.
Okay.
It's so interesting.
Oh no, I'm scared.
Haricot, plain boiled, should be first washed, then put into the black iron pot, 1 quart of them, with 4 quarts of cold water, 1 ounce of butter or fat. Boil them gently for 3 hours or till tender. The water will be nearly absorbed if the haricot are good. Draw off the remainder, mix in a pint of it, 3 teaspoons of flour, half ditto of pepper, add into the haricot, boil for 10 minutes, keep stirring, and serve. Adding 3 teaspoons of salt, an ounce of butter is an improvement.
I'm sorry, they put flour.
I think it's like, have you ever had that white sauce that goes with like creamed eggs on toast?
No.
There's like a white, like thick flour sauce that you can use for like homemade mac and cheese and like creamed eggs on toast. And I think it's kind of like you're creaming and boiling the beans a little bit.
I'm still scared. I'm still scared that the spices are pepper and salt and then flour and beans.
And butter is an improvement.
Butter is an improvement. Like,
if you can afford it.
We've stepped that forward. Anyway.
Yeah. A little meat of any kind can be cooked with them, just the same as dried peas. Only these are to be eaten whole, and 4 onions in slices, fried, may be added with the seasoning with the haricot or lentils. When the haricot or lentils are nearly cooked, the broth, if ample, when strained from them, may be used as soup with bread in it.
Yeah, that's definitely like a poor.
Yeah, it's like a boiled bean recipe. It's like a precursor to baked beans. And they're already putting bread in the broth. The beans and the toast, they're already coming together.
Okay.
No, it's mainly just soup with bread. But now we're going to talk about how canned beans made it the UK. Canned baked beans.
Is it in the same way that we did with Spam?
We're about to find out.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. This is Albala again. I promise we won't only talk about Albala, but he's one of the only people that talks about beans.
Albala.
Ken Albala.
Albala.
So here it goes. Quote, ironically, Britain's love affair with canned beans comes by way of the United States.
I knew it. They took our stuff and then they turned it into something horrible.
Yeah, according to a lot of unofficial sources, the Heinz beans like changed the recipe in the US, but not in the UK. Their original recipe was the tomato-y one in the UK, and British people liked that better because they liked those more down-to-earth tastes. And the Americans, it wasn't as popular, so that's one reason he sends them to the UK.
They said, we don't like this, so we like spice.
We like a lot of flavor.
We like flavor. We don't like just like tomato.
Yeah, we like drenched stuff in a lot of flavor.
And that's the way to do it, actually.
Stated.
I like flavor with every bite.
That's so fair. That's the American in us.
Yeah.
So the Heinz Company began in 1869 in Sharpsburg, Pennsylvania, at first making pickles. By the late 19th century, they expanded their line to condiments and baked beans. With aggressive marketing campaigns, they eventually expanded sales to Britain in 1886. And a factory at Peckham started production in 1905. The British became paragon bean eaters, especially of Heinz canned baked beans. ... According to the Guinness Book of World Records, the UK is the country with the highest per capita consumption of baked beans in the world.
Yeah, I could guess.
Yep. I once saw a dad in a London grocery store, just like he had his baby in one arm and he grabbed a giant like box of Heinz baked beans in the other, and that was it.
That poor baby's gonna poop its brains out, and then he's gonna gas out the nursery, and they're not gonna be able to sing him his nighttime lullaby.
No, maybe it was for him and not the baby.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's gonna gas out his baby, and his baby's not gonna be able to sleep as he tries to sing him a lullaby.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, Albala says that in 1999, the British consumed 11 pounds of baked beans, 10 ounces per person. The Heinz Corporation estimates that 1.5 million cans are eaten per day. And they report that a 1998 poll voted baked beans one of the products that best represents Britain.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Yeah.
They're like a baked bean.
London's Business Design Center houses a time capsule that contains Heinz baked beans. Although the context seems odd to most Americans, Heinz baked beans are commonly eaten in a traditional breakfast of fried eggs, Cumberland sausages, or black pudding, i.e. blood pudding, a roasted tomato, and fried bread. A quick and less fussy version just includes the beans on toast. For breakfast or a lime meal anytime. Unquote.
See, I have not eaten it, but at this restaurant where I got a really good, what did I even have? Okay, I just forgot what I had, sorry. But the guy next to me had a traditional English breakfast and it had it on it.
The full English.
Oh yeah, it had the sausage and the tomato. I love tomato. I would eat the tomato actually.
So would you eat the tomato on toast?
The tomato on toast? I'd have to put something on it.
Okay.
Too.
So just the tomato.
Like if there was like a sandwich that had like mayo and tomato and like lettuce and stuff, I would eat that.
See, that feels like something the British might do because with their teas, they're doing a lot of like mayonnaise sandwiches, tomatoes on bread.
See, that's an overlap because in the South growing up, I ate mayonnaise sandwiches.
Yeah.
Which is like a little overlap thing. But we didn't put beans on our toast. We ate our beans as a side
You
dish.
just eat the beans. Sometimes over cornbread, I guess.
Beans on cornbread. I'm seeing it over it. I've seen them served together and like they touch and then you eat them separately, but I've not seen people put it on it.
My grandma eats beans on cornbread.
Really?
Sometimes, yeah.
Oh, I've not seen people. I've seen them like have it in the same meal and like they run into it. Sometimes I've seen them like scoop the sauce of the beans, but not put the beans on it. Like, because Southern people love doing that. They'll take the cornbread and all the juices at the bottom. They'll rub it in it and get it. So they'll have beans in there.
Yeah.
Like bean juice and then also like roast, but not just eating it itself with them.
That's so interesting. Someone needs to make a podcast about Southern food history. We can collab.
Mayonnaise sandwiches rock.
Mayonnaise sandwiches.
I stand on that.
I'll actually save that for later, but there's some really weird foods that people are going to write that they eat in their diaries and restaurant menus and things.
Oh.
So then Fortnum and Mason, the fancy little condiment and biscuit store in the UK, they strike again. They featured in my suffrage episode as well. But they, on their website, have a little section where they fancify Heinz, which is what you were talking about. So on their list of like major historical events in Fortnum and Mason's history that they have publicized, they have one called, quote, Fortnum Meat Heinz. So this just speaks to how much Heinz baked beans and like beans on toast are a big British thing because this fancy posh little store is like really proud of it. 1886, quote, since the middle of the century, Fortnum's had been the leading provider in tinned goods, which made us the obvious first step for a young entrepreneur lugging 5 cases of samples from the USA.
Oh, yes.
That's Mr. Heinz. Recognizing a future household staple, we took them all, introducing the mighty baked bean to Britain for the first time.
Oh, that's so classist. I'm sorry, it is. It's just like, we're the ones that did it. You're welcome, people. You're welcome, peasants.
The mighty baked bean. Well, it's also interesting because we see these kind of like precursors like the Irish soup, but this is according to kind of Albala, who also gives around 1886 because that's when the canned baked beans come in. And Fortnum and Mason, they're kind of claiming that the baked beans, they just start in 1886. So yeah, we'll never know, but this is when we can start to trace them. And then they say, quote, whilst baked beans was one of the more prosaic entries in our ever-expanding list of historic gastronomic firsts, Fortnum's was considered as the premier supplier of exotic edibles to the gentry of the time.
So they're like, it's exotic. You're all going to want to eat it because it's exotic.
Yeah. And they're also kind of saying like, oh, baked beans, like we know they're like really boring and basic and all of the classes eat them. But like we still provided the best service to the gentry too.
It's so funny that the U.S. keeps doing that. That like we take the foods we don't like, leave them in a country, and then the country loves them. The same thing happened in not only just Hawaii, which is not a different country, it's a different state, but also in Japan, where we left Spam, the soldiers, when they left staying there. They left it because they were like, oh, we don't want to take it back. That's crap. And like now these like cultures have like food that heavily involves them. Not all the time, but like they have dishes that involves them.
Fried rice and musubi.
I've seen Spam on pizzas like in Japan. Like they took our foods that we didn't really like, that we thought was just and
made it like an important cultural standpoint.
Mm-hmm. Like
actually,
I ate musubi today.
Yeah. If I liked seaweed, I would eat it. You ate it today. That's awesome.
2 of them. It's good.
Yeah. I know. We just need to be more creative with our food.
It's kind of funny because then we give it to other cultures and they make it exotic. So it's like in the way that they were like, here's the exotic baked beans. You want to have them. Well, we took the foods we didn't like. They then made it exotic. And then we're like, oh yeah, let's try it. Except for beans on toast. That's like the one we haven't done. Like musubi, we're like, yeah. Or like Spam fried rice. Everyone's like, yeah, let's try it. But then
we haven't adopted beans on toast yet.
I hope we don't. I'm going to be honest.
That's what's coming up in the future. Speaking of Spam, there's actually a food historian called Kelly Spring who helped me with this episode because she was super nice and really generous. And she has a whole like series of like, she's published a bunch of writings on Spam, and she did like a lecture/seminar on Spam.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like Spam fried rice and stuff.
Spam. She has like a ton of information on the history of that.
Go, lady, go.
Also, just a shout out. I tried to email Heinz to get more information about the baked beans, and like I was really excited, guys. I was going to try and get us some insider information, and they just emailed me back and said, we don't know.
It's rude.
Like they didn't give me. I was like, hey, like these are all these things you say about baked beans on your website. Like, I just want to know what the sources are. Like, even if I can't access them, like, can I have your like bibliography or something from your archivist? And they're like, we don't know. We can't provide you that information at this time.
Oh.
So I'm really annoyed about that, guys. If you publish something, even if it's for a company website and they don't want to list all their sources because they're trying to be all hip and cool, or you're trying to post a blog, because also I found a lot of blogs that would have been really helpful if they had sources at the bottom. Because historical blogs, they don't count as like peer review standard, but if you can link to their sources could be really useful for you or allow you to substantiate the information. So guys, if you ever are hired to write a history for the food company, list the sources. Do it. That's my PSA for today.
Yes.
All right. So even before the big bean came though, the British were buying a lot of beans in the markets. I have this really fancy little food report I'm going to pull out of my random, out of nowhere.
It came out of thin air. She pulled it out of a little shadow in the back.
My Mary Poppins bag. This is a like 1970s report called Diet and Health in Modern Britain.
Oh.
Yeah. So first we'll go to the 1800s thing. So this is just the quantities of homegrown fruit and vegetables sold in London's markets in 1851. Beans are the number 8 vegetable out of like 16. They're getting up there. You know, they're getting up there. 893 tons of beans were sold in Covent Garden in 1851. Tons. 179 tons in Borough Market. And then, let's see.
I love Borough Market.
I love Borough Market too. 89 tons in Spitalfields, 21 in Farringdon, 9 in Portman, and in total 1,191 tons of beans. I feel like that's a lot of beans.
That's a lot of beans.
Yeah.
So many farts. I wonder if they held off like the rain, those farts.
Yeah, you can kind of see how they're popular. They're topped mainly by like peas, carrots, turnips, and potatoes. So all those kind of things where you can get a lot of bang for your buck, like a lot of nutrients out of boiling them and stuff like that.
Good side dish stuff.
Yeah, exactly. She's going to be on this horse the whole time, guys.
I will be.
So then we have 1931 to 1932. Do you know what happened in the 1930s?
Depression.
Exactly. The Great Depression. Right. And so this is my theory about beans on toast is that once you got the beans imported in 1886, right?
Mhm.
People are eating the baked beans. And now it's like, how do they end up on toast? We're not really sure, for sure. But like we can start to trace when they start to get really, really popular, and we can start to trace when they start to appear in the record. And I think that they were solidified in British culinary history around the Great Depression and rationing because they were affordable, and the government's also going to place like a huge emphasis on the value of bread and using alternative protein sources to meat. That makes sense to me. So anyways, what happens in this report book in 1931 to 32 is they do like this survey for the regional demand for various canned fruits and vegetables as demonstrated by the percentage of shops in each area carrying stocks of that canned fruit or vegetable.
Mm-hmm.
And in that survey, London, 99% of shops have baked beans.
Oh.
In Birmingham, 99% of shops have baked beans. And in Liverpool, 100% have baked beans.
Oh.
And on the Northeast Coast, 100% have baked beans. And guess what? Baked beans is at the top of the list of vegetables. It's the most stocked vegetable in the 30s.
Wow. I often forget it's a vegetable. It's like at the same level as a potato to me.
Yeah.
Like I know they're vegetables, but my brain just like puts them in their own separate category.
They're like in between vegetables and meat. So
they're like the losers of the vegetable. I'm just kidding. They're like the
weirdos of the vegetable club.
That's the nerd clique of them.
Yeah. No, seriously. So I think that percentage of stores having them, because only below that is peas. And there's one area, Birmingham, that has 100%, but the rest have below 99% of peas. But baked beans are like almost universally stocked. So I think that shows a demand, a popularity. The places know it's going to sell, because also you're not going to stock something during the Depression that's not going to sell.
Yeah.
And also you're going to keep stocking it if people are actually buying it. So that means people are eating a lot of baked beans then.
I wonder, this is like, it's in the same topic. I wonder if that's around the same time that we start getting cinnamon sugar on bread.
Oh yeah, like the cinnamon sugar.
Or like they sometimes
for,
put like
breakfast.
sprinkles, but like I grew up with bread with butter and cinnamon sugar on it. You put it in an oven for just a little bit and it comes out and it's divine.
I used to eat that. Used to be my favorite breakfast as a kid, or like my favorite snack. I would ask my mom to make it and she would always be hesitant. She didn't want me to have too much sugar, but it's so good.
I wonder which time it came out. Maybe like no, it's older than 2008. So I think it might be like the Great Depression time.
I feel like
maybe during the wars.
It's at least some sort of holdover. Just like I feel like beans on toast is kind of like a holdover that got really big, because it's just like the struggle meals from when you couldn't afford a lot just relied on using a mainstay. And as we can see, these baked beans have already become a mainstay of the British diet. And in the same way that like sugar and like cinnamon are a pretty mainstay of like the American diet, I think that putting stuff on bread is definitely like a Depression rationing wartime response. Like, what can I do to make bread more interesting?
There's so many dishes with bread.
Yeah.
So, like just like mayonnaise sandwiches. It's just,
Or just
I also think that's a Depression meal.
Toast. Like so many British people in these diaries I'm going to get to later are just like eating buttered toast for most of their breakfast during like the Depression and rationing, which like makes sense.
Yeah, pop off.
So here we go. So like I said, with the rationing thing, I had said that they were emphasizing like meat alternatives and like bread alternatives, or not bread alternatives. They were emphasizing eating bread. So like, for example, there's like this Ministry of Food report on like the working class diet from, let me check the years, 1940 to 1949. And there's just a bunch of like different clauses in here where the committee concludes like, quote, "It may be said that where the energy content of the diet needs to be augmented, it is preferable to increase the intake of bread rather than that of sugar, since bread contains some protein, appreciable quantities of important minerals, and some vitamin B." And so like these reports were being like published, and like the Ministry of Food was publishing pamphlets during rationing and stuff. So like people were hearing these kinds of things like, eat more bread, it's better for you. And like the Ministry of Food, bread does end up being rationed like partially through the war.
Mhm.
But it like they try to hold off on rationing bread as much as they can. Like they say, in particular, stress was laid on the importance of plentiful and preferably an unrationed supply of bread. They say it was decided in January 1940 to subsidize the prices of flour and bread, basically to make them more available. And there's also these recipes that the Ministry of Food published, and there's a lot of them that involve bread. There's one that's like pichards, like these little fish.
Okay.
Kind of like, I don't know if they taste like tuna, but they look kind of like little tuna or like anchovies,
Are they
I think.
crackers? Or
let me look up pichards.
Are we talking like sardines?
Let's look them up. But there's like a recipe for that on toast in this rationing book. Yeah, it's a sardine.
Okay.
The pilchard. I guess it's just the British word for sardine. See, you guys, I need to learn the European way of saying things.
Did you know there's like a sunrise in sardines being like fancy again?
Really?
Because we've always talked about like how bad they are in people, but like this past year, I've seen so many like TikToks of people being like, trying my sardines. They're like, I'm so hungry. And people do like charcuterie boards with sardines.
What? I was at the World Market the other day and there was a countdown calendar with imported sardines.
Literally, they like jumped in popularity again.
See, and
suddenly.
I feel like beans on toast, like, I feel like it is still more associated with like working and middle class people. But I think like it's similar in that like sometimes it changes fanciness just depending on how people feel about adopting it at the time and who wants to identify with it.
I was going to say, who posts it? Who announces that they're eating it? Is it the Queen of England? Or is it Kim Kardashian? Who are we talking about?
Yeah, like I think it's usually a lot of like regular people, like not celebrities, you know? But like Fortnum and Mason tried to make it a little more bougie. They had a beans on toast truffle this last year.
Huh?
Or not on toast, but just a beans. It had Heinz beans in the middle of a white chocolate truffle that they were selling at Fortnum and Mason this last year.
I think I'd throw up. I'm not, as someone who's allergic to chocolate and can only eat white chocolate is so sweet.
Mm-hmm. And the beans are so savory.
I'm going to be honest. I think I would throw up.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody really liked it. I read a review for it. It wasn't like the review was like, it was more mid.
Okay.
Mid. But as you can see, like people still try to fancify it sometimes.
Yeah, I could see people trying it. I would not personally, just to protect my gut health, but go off, I guess.
Yeah, they might still be selling it. If you're interested and you are near London,
we can make our own.
Please go go get it and let us know. I would actually love, like, please email me at albiontonight@gmail.com and like tell me what it was like.
We could make it like a popsicle, like a cake pop.
Ooh, Heinz beans cake pop, please. And thank you.
Yes. No.
So yeah, in the recipe book, there's also like, there's a specific part where they actually say like, basically beans can be used as a supplement for meat, or you can add them to your meat, kind of like people do human beans. So it's like recommending that for people who are rationing, or it's recommending using cheese instead of meat. And so you can really see in this recipe book, which I'll also like post a link to as well. In this recipe book and in the Urban Working Class Household Diet, you can really see the shaping of like the prioritization of bread and non-meat protein and vitamin sources. And so even though there's not an explicit recipe in the Ministry of Food recipe pamphlets that is beans on toast that I could find with my available sources, it did seem like they were kind of suggesting that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But also it's hard to know if beans on toast was a solidified meal, because it's kind of like you wouldn't necessarily like think of listing ramen as a meal. You just assume people will know that that's like an option, like a cheap option. So sometimes beans on toast kind of hides in the archive because I almost think it's something that was like so widely adopted after a certain time period that people didn't think to mention it.
Like cereal or oatmeal. It's just like everyone knows about that. Yeah,
like everyone knows that. Although there are porridge recipes in the Ministry of Food. So, but they have that pilchards on toast and stuff. And I guess, you know, it's just one more step for people to say, well, this ration book has some recommended recipes for beans or for using peas and carrots instead of meat, and I'm just going to put it on toast.
Yeah.
So now we get to my favorite resource. You're going to like this one. This one's going to be fun. It's called the Mass Observation Database.
Okay.
And it's where everyday people reported everyday things about their everyday lives. Basically, in the 1930s, there was these group of like historians and activists who were looking at the news, like broadcasts on the radio, and reading the newspapers. And they were like, this isn't really reflective of actual people's opinions. Like, it's all blown out of proportion. Mm-hmm. And it's all about certain groups of people. Like, it doesn't necessarily record like the actual lived experience of most people in Britain. So they started sending out these surveys to people of just like, tell us what you ate today. Tell us what you thought of this program on TV today. And people answered them.
Oh.
And you can read them.
I love that.
And it's so awesome. And so it's a great historical project, and it's seriously a holy grail for social and cultural history, which is what I tend to do. And it is just about one of the only places that anybody thought to mention beans on toast. Because where would you mention the ramen or the cereal or the peanut butter and jelly?
Yeah.
Just if you were asked what you ate that day.
I'm going to go on to like the Oxford Dictionary and put a little side note. And I'm going to say, I prefer beef ramen over chicken ramen.
Just so they know. Yeah. Because the future historians will literally love you. Like,
oh, they would.
I literally love the people that wrote these things. They probably thought nothing of it in the time unless they did. But they helped me allow you to know when we can for sure say beans on toast starts to appear in the archive. There could totally have been people eating it in the 1920s or before, but it's not until the 1930s that we start to see it popping up. But that's also when this project started, which was around 1937.
Hey, there you go.
So Day Survey Respondent 367, they all go by numbers. It's like anonymous. But he was a single male librarian from 1937 to 38 in London. And he records that, quote, I have beans on toast with a piece of cake and an apple.
Cake?
He's having it with like his tea. So like with tea, you usually have like a sandwich or something on bread and then a cake and an apple. And then Elsie, which is somebody he knows, has Welsh rarebit, which is like cheese melted on toast.
Okay, that'd be good. I need that.
So that's kind of like the other option to beans on toast that was really popular during times
I would
of
eat
harsh.
that, not the beans on toast.
Yeah. And then his eldest sister, Bessie, comes in, quote, while we were eating, she has a cup of tea and I hot some beans while she prepares some toast.
I hot the beans.
He hots the beans. So he makes
the hots for beans.
He makes beans on toast for his sister, which also starts to defy gender stereotypes. Guys, in 1937 and 38, guys could cook. What? Everyone could cook.
What do you mean?
What? It doesn't just have to be women. What?
Nope, only women.
No, like the lived experience has always been completely different than the stereotypes.
Mm-hmm.
But this is during the Great Depression. This is before World War II was declared because it's 37 to 38. So before 39. So during the Depression, beans on toast, he's mentioning them. He's made them twice. Somebody's eating cheese on toast. So it's not just the rationing books, but I think there's kind of been this idea with the health discoveries that have recently been made by the Ministry of Food that inform their decisions in the 40s that also kind of inform this, as well as just the affordability of baked beans and the wide availability in all the grocery stores. So it's a depression food, and then it's going to become a rationing food. So the rest of our responses are kind of from like 1942 to 1948.
Okay.
So then we have a girl named Respondent 2043, and she records a list of some of her meals for a couple days. So for her high tea one October, she had beans on toast, a pastry, and China tea.
Okay.
So it originally seems like it was a tea meal, like a light meal that you would have with your tea. And I can see how that kind of evolves into breakfast because some people have more of like a morning tea.
Yeah.
And then it also like tea is just quintessentially British. And so when they made a breakfast that's called the full English breakfast, that's kind of supposed to represent everything British. It makes sense that beans on toast went in there. They went with tea. And then another day she had the grilled tomatoes on toast with her supper.
Hey.
And then she often had marmalade on toast for breakfast.
See, that's divine.
Yeah, I love marmalade, just like Paddington. It is so good though, the orange marmalade.
It is good. I love
so
it.
Good.
We had a jam at my house the other day that was from Paris though, and it was vanilla pear.
Ooh, that's so good. I have to say, like, as much as Americans can be really harsh on European food, I think they do so much better with jams and yogurts and things like that.
Oh, they do better with that. Now, beans on toast, that's a different story in my opinion.
Yeah, and a lot of people's opinions, like a lot of the savory things, but a lot of the sweeter things, like the jams and the pastries and stuff, like they're just divine.
Oh, they are.
They're so
100%.
divine. Oh,
but like Texas barbecue. Okay, anyway.
Guys, try Texas barbecue. Try beans on toast. Let us know which one you like better.
And if you like beans on toast better, I will find you. Just kidding. I promise.
I won't tell her your name. It's okay.
I'll find you.
It can be an anonymous email.
It can be an anonymous.
So yeah, we kind of see with this girl that toast is a common staple and go-to in her diet to mix with different things. It's often eaten. Her toast is often eaten for breakfast. So also like toast being a breakfast item, you just add the beans to add protein. It kind of makes sense. Mm-hmm. And then it was often eaten at tea, like I said. This girl was also an art student. She said she was a student and said that, quote, all things considered, I manage very well. That might have been a response to a different question, but it still suggests that there's kind of an association between like being busy, being a student or somewhat hard by and being able to eat and afford like protein and bread in the form of beans and toast. So it kind of becomes an affordable thing. So this episode is kind of, we will have some discussion on like gender roles and how it plays into this soon. Like assumptions about gender roles, but it's really a lot more about class episode for sure. There's a guy, 3960, he said that after a football match, he went out and had, quote, something like beans on toast, cakes, or tea, usually.
Okay.
Afterwards.
With his little soccer game.
Yeah, he watched his little soccer game and then he goes out with his friends and has like beans on toast.
That's so British. See, we would go get a hamburger. In-N-Out.
In-N-Out, so good. Go try In-N-Out. I'm just going to give you guys all this food to try.
In-N-Out and get it protein style instead of buns and do lettuce.
That is so good. But also, please like email me if you have questions about stuff other than like which food is better. I'm happy to answer those too.
And if you have questions for me and my opinions on food, I will answer them.
Yeah, if you want Trinity to answer your emails, just let me know and I'll forward them.
I'm really good with my opinions, actually. I have a lot of food opinions.
She has great opinions. So then we have an unidentified response in January 1948 of someone who had pound cake, baked beans on toast, and a cup of cocoa for tea, and buttered toast for breakfast many days. And then she also lists beans, toast, and tea bags as the things she used to make tea one day.
Okay.
So
I was about to say she just ate the tea bags, and I was like, hold up. No, you did not just sit there and suck on it. It's like,
sometimes you can't see the questions they're answering, but I think it was kind of like associated with rationing, more of like listing like what ingredients did I use? Because on like the next line, she's like, oh, I was out of like milk for this cake. So it's kind of like a grocery list / what I ate diary.
What did I eat today?
And then this guy, you're going to love him. He's a factory man. He works at a factory. He's a fireman.
Oh, it's my dad. It's my dad. He works at a factory. He's a fireman.
This is his past life. Diarist 5039.2.
Okay.
And he said, quote, for tea, stewed apple rings, baked beans on toast, etc., etc. And then he ends like his list of the things he had for tea and says, how lucky we are in this country! Exclamation point.
How lucky we are in this country to eat beans and stewed apples.
Yeah, there's more he ate, but I didn't list it because I was focusing on the baked beans.
No,
but
I'm just making fun of his food. That's all. I have an opinion. I'm making fun of it.
As you can see, too, there's kind of this idea of like, and I think during the war, this idea of like rationing and being tough and being appreciative of like the small things.
This is my dad if he was British.
It really is. It was his British past life.
My dad instead goes, tamales.
Oh, tamales are good too. Go try those.
Go get those now.
If you hadn't had them before. And then the last one for the diarist. Well, actually, there's more, but they're in a different category. You'll see. It's a surprise. It's a teaser.
Dun, dun, dun.
Diarist 5030 in 1946 said, quote, I had quite a sumptuous lunch before this, beans on toast, lettuce, and radishes with cheese and slices of maple meat, shredded wheat, and tea. They're always eating the beans on toast with tea.
What is maple meat?
That's what I'm going to tell you. I'm about to tell you what maple meat is. I think it's like mincemeat, but don't let me get this wrong.
Okay. Also, radishes?
Yeah, radishes. I think he put the like lettuce and radishes. He doesn't specify, but I wonder if he put them with the beans, like a little vegetable.
Or maybe like wrap them. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's like a rabbit picking what thing he wants. He goes, and I want this one, and I want this one, and I want this one. I wish I liked radishes. I don't.
Maple meat. I don't.
My thought was like
I'm really
ham,
sorry, guys.
or
I
like a
should've
sausage
looked it
that had
up.
stuff in it.
But it might be a mapled ham. But
Okay.
also, I couldn't find it. And I'm thinking it might be a way of referring to mincemeat because it's like a meat mixed with like sauce and like dried fruit and
Okay.
stuff.
See,
I'm so sorry that I didn't look this up before, guys. I'm actually really curious now. If you know what it is, email me. But I looked it up in a British context and it's not telling me. So it might be an outdated.
it made me think of
phrase.
like brown sugar maple ham that we can get in the deli right now, which I love that on my sandwiches. Which I don't think it'd be in the exact same context, but like it sounds similar.
Yeah, it does sound similar. But I want to say it's probably similar to mincemeat in that it's meat mixed with something
Okay.
to like make the meat go further. So you have less meat and more other stuff to kind of fill out the meat to make you feel like you're eating more meat, but not using as much meat.
Okay. This made me randomly just crave shepherd's pie.
Shepherd's pie
I've
is
not
one
had
of the
shepherd's
best
pie in
British
forever.
dishes. We love shepherd's pie.
Isn't it like the potatoes and then the meat?
Yeah.
What I'm thinking of, not pot pie. I don't like chicken pot pie, but I do like shepherd's pie.
After this, you can imagine Trendy and I eating shepherd's pie.
We should. I like it.
It'll be
Do
so
they
good.
put green beans on it sometimes?
Sometimes they also they usually put a lot of like thyme in it.
So yeah,
In the UK,
I think I've
love
had
thyme.
I've had green beans with
And
a bit on the
peas.
side.
They put peas in it sometimes.
I'm putting an X to the peas, but that's my opinion.
Put it on the side.
Put them on the side, but put the green beans on the side because I also like green beans, but not with anyway,
Not mixed in.
not mixed in.
Yeah, I think he did mix in his vegetables with it though.
Oh, that's a mush.
Which is-
That's like those people that
He's
just take their
trying
entire
to get
meal and
all
go,
of his vitamins for the day. He's just trying to get all of his
all
vitamins
in
for
one
the
go.
day.
You know what? Just funnel it in.
Yeah, funnel it in. But this is where it gets crazy, right? So I read all these diary entries and I was like, I think that it's popular enough because a lot of the diarists are mentioning it as something that they eat.
Yeah.
And they're mentioning it fairly casually. And it seems like common enough that like you can just start making it for your sister and it feels common enough to put stuff on toast. But I'm pretty sure it was definitely common by this time because restaurants are serving it. The restaurants are serving it.
That's crazy.
Like the guy who goes out after soccer, he could be going out like with his friends to somebody's place, but it sounds like he might actually have been going to like a restaurant. So like there's this box in the Mass Observation Archive called Box 55 with holidays, guest houses, and hotels. And it has a menu for Burton's. And on the savory section, it has beans on toast. You can order beans on toast at this restaurant.
Oh.
And you can also get many other things on toast, including there is a menu item called spaghetti on toast.
Oh. I'm sorry.
And
That's
I
too
think-
many starchy carbs.
I think that's gotten a little more intense than the beans on toast, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I'd rather have beans on toast over that because that just sounds like carbs
Yeah.
rolled up in a little ball and shoved in your mouth.
Maybe it's good though. We can't judge until we've tried it.
I can judge.
So that's also from the 1930s and 40s period. There's also a guy that records his everyday life between 1937 and 1940. He was from Blackpool. There was a part of the mass observation database where they just requested observations from everyday life in Blackpool. So this guy records some of his day and he goes, quote, "Go to Woolworth's Cafe for tea. 2 huge rooms, each advertised to seat 500. You serve yourself, USA style, sliding a tray along rails in front of food counters. It is full, and we go out to a less fast cafe where we have tea, bread and butter, a few baked beans on toast."
Are we just like lazy, known for buffet? Is this what it's telling me?
We're
my
known
golden
for
corral.
buffet. And he seems kind of upset about the less vast cafe they went to because he just says that he makes sure to specify a few baked beans. He even the little carrot where you add it in.
Mhm.
He said baked beans on toast and then added in with a carrot a few.
Oh, he's upset. We've got a Karen.
Yeah, no, he was a Karen. He writes about how middle-aged women kept getting up to go to the bathroom afterwards.
Oh, we have a early Karen.
And then
his name's Kevin, though, because he's a man.
He says he's walking around and he says that everyone's not very pretty. And he's like, I'm not trying to be rude, but
you are. You are.
He's like, as a young man, it's just like, I couldn't find any of these women attractive.
Put me in a room with him, and I'm going to make sure he only ever has 2 baked beans for the rest of his life. 2 singular ones.
2 baked beans on his toast. So if you want to be entertained, if you can go to box 56, Observations in Blackpool, you might be able to find some of this guy's writing this. Kevin Karen's writing.
But if I get a time machine and go back, he might not be able to, because he's not going to be able to write, because I'm going to make sure that he compliments every single woman he ever sees on the street.
Otherwise, he'll only get a few baked beans on his toast.
2. No juice. 2.
I love that. So, yeah. And then there's even a newspaper. There's a newspaper article from like somewhere between 37 and 51. I think it's between the war. It doesn't specify the exact newspaper date, but sometime during the war, they had these canteens where people could go eat.
Slop.
And kind of like meet together. And it was a way to help with rationing of like, here's some foods you can eat with rationing that we'll give to you. Yeah. And so there's a canteen that opens and they're like, right now the canteen's only serving tea and biscuits, but soon we're hoping it will open up to serve toast and maybe light meals like beans on toast. So it's like an exciting thing that this that this canteen might be serving beans on toast.
That's like, actually, I don't even know what I was going to say. I was going to say, it's like when we're like, oh my gosh, the iPhone 18's coming out. Maybe we can get this. Maybe we'll have this feature. And instead it's, maybe we'll have beans.
Yeah, maybe we'll have beans on toast at the canteen soon. So I think that attests more. In history, it's hard to explicitly get someone saying like, this is when beans and toast were popular, because people, it's such an everyday part of life at first that people don't start to think about how it's a historical phenomenon. But by the fact that restaurants are serving it, restaurants tend to serve popular foods they know that fit people's palates, that things that people would like to eat at home, that feel homey, that feel nice and comforting to people. So definitely baked beans are like a common thing by this point.
Yeah.
And now we're going to get to some gendered stuff.
Oh,
wait, first,
I can get
Heinz marketing.
Okay.
Heinz beans. It's specifically Heinz baked beans that have become such like a pop cultural icon in the UK today. Baked beans on toast can be made with any kind of baked beans, but they're typically made with Heinz. And in the Mass Observation Archive, the other thing that you see is that Heinz has like made it into people's minds.
Oh no.
There's like parts of these diaries where one guy just like references a jingle. You know how like we can say go cuckoo for, and someone will finish with like Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah.
Like people know. He's like writing about, he's like, I heard the jingle on the radio today and it's all I can think about. And I was like, oh no, it's made it.
Sorry, I was looking up from the time I said I had a dish. I had salmon and like hollandaise sauce and a poached egg.
It's like a fancy version of Eggs Benedict and pilchards on toast.
Yeah.
It's a fancy version.
So I was trying to look that up because I was like, I had something at that place. Go to Bayswater in London, please. Bayswater. They actually have really good breakfast foods.
And get a mixture between Eggs Benedict and pilchards on toast. Someone's going to kill me for saying that, but that's what that is.
No, it is. And the salmon was so good. Ooh. And then my aunt had Turkish eggs.
Ooh.
They were special. And yeah, there was someone with a full British breakfast beside me.
That's amazing. So if you want a full English, full British, you can get it.
The guy liked it. He ate the entire plate.
So you can get all of the British things there.
Bayswater.
So yeah, Heinz marketing really just became part of the lexicon. Like people were referencing it as something that like they just assumed people would get. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, the jingle that goes, Heinz means beans, you know, like they would just reference those things.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Yeah, it's like it's in your head. And there's also references, all the local businesses. This one guy complains because all the local businesses in his town have to start stocking Heinz beans.
How dare they?
And he's like, it's selling out the local beans. And I feel bad.
Oh, see, literally my fridge right now, if you open it up, I have Heinz ketchup, mustard, and relish right now.
They have a monopoly.
Literally. Not beans, though.
Yeah, not beans here. But in the UK, their like biggest thing is mayonnaise and beans.
See, we like mayonnaise here, but we don't. We like beans, but in a different context, which I just want you to know, you've reminded me that I have a can of Southern barbecue baked beans in my pantry right now.
She's probably going to go eat this after this in
with
spite
my
of
hamburger helper.
In spite of all the baked beans eaters.
With my beef hamburger helper and my baked beans, Southern style barbecue.
But see, the South and the UK, maybe they're not so different.
Maybe we are.
Meet.
That's
maybe
why
we can meet in the middle.
You know what? This is my greatest opinion. A subject is that I feel like the Southern accent and the British accent are very similar in ways, and that it's like
they feel more connected.
Up north, they like lost it, but then down south, we've like y'all, like our drawl is like very similar. And like, yeah. Anyway.
I agree with you.
It's like the British accent of the Americas, but also we're not British because we really like our spices, like really like our spices.
But accent-wise, definitely more linguistically derived.
Yeah, it has the drawl.
Not as much gastronomically.
Nope, and we don't have, the classism with it because actually, never mind. There
might be classism. That's for the Southern History podcast that maybe I'll have to start.
You might have to, because that's where I can talk about how Southern accents are seen as lower class, how they disappear in higher education. Huge
hierarchy. It's kind of like the Cockney in the UK, but different. But this like assumption that sounds less educated.
Yeah,
and even with beans on toast, like people discriminated against people for eating them. Sometimes. The last thing I wanted to say about Heinz is the posters, like the baked beans posters, had become so embedded in people's lives that there's like this survey asking people what they think of different advertising posters and how effective they are in the mass observation database. And a lot of people are like, it's not as good as the Heinz poster that I see on the way home from work. That Heinz poster has advertising right. And I'm like, were you paid? But it's like the Heinz poster, it's like in their minds. So you can kind of see how both baked beans and the Heinz posters are becoming part of British identity. They eat them at outings with friends. They eat them at home, and they eat them with tea.
Yeah.
Speaking of gendering, some of those Heinz posters are like, a lot of them have like little boys growing healthy and strong. Like, Mom, feed me Heinz beans and I'll become a strong boy. Yeah. So more on gender. Women, yay! The end. No, I'm just kidding.
Podcast over. Bye.
So, as you might guess, women were encouraged to be responsible for rationing and planning meals and being in the kitchen and all that jazzy jazz.
What?
So, in my opinion, they were kind of the ones pioneering beans on toast into the future in a lot of ways, because they're the ones making a lot of the choices about what's being bought, about what's being served on their tables. Like a lot of times the recipes and like new meals to try were targeted towards them. Like the Ministry of Food pamphlets were really targeted towards them. There's a like propaganda video from the British government on rationing and like good rationing practices. And there's a section in it that's supposed to be kind of funny where like it's showing how the mom has to like be like, no to the husband and be like, we're only going to have this much meat today. You know, like she's the only one who has the knowledge to make the food go the farthest and make the healthiest meals that still taste good for her family. And you can really see that in the propaganda video. And then remember Kelly Sprang? Remember her? She wrote us a great article on rationing and gender.
Oh.
Called Today We Have All Got to Be Fighting Fit. The interconnectivity of gender roles in British food rationing propaganda during the Second World War.
Ooh.
And that part of her title, Today We've All Got to Be Fighting Fit, she says, quote, in 1940, a Ministry of Food scientific advisor issued this statement epitomizing the all-encompassing nature of food rationing on the British home front in the Second World War. Food, the Ministry of Food implied, was the tool with which the home front population could eat its way to victory. However, the road to victory was laden with gendered connotations. Officials understood that men and women each had a part to play in the altered food climate, infusing rationing propaganda with varied and diverse activities for each gender, which often differed but were interconnected, forming cyclical bonds between women in the home front and men in civilian and non-civilian capacities. End quote. So it's a great article. I highly recommend it because she also has just a lot of great stuff on both sides of like the pressure on men and the pressure on women and everything. But yeah, women, they actually labeled it, and her article references this, they labeled it the kitchen front
Oh.
So they made the kitchen into like a war front.
Yeah.
And as many people know, women also were sent to work in the munitions factories and things like that while men were at war. And so in a lot of ways, this is kind of like a double shift in a lot of ways, because it's like a double amount of pressure because you got to go work in the factory during the day. But then at home, you're expected to be in charge of all the shopping and the cooking and the rationing and everything like that.
Yeah.
Also, she has a Ministry of Food Facts column that has like metaphorical medals for women. It says, quote, "The British housewife is helping to make a second front, the kitchen front, against Hitler. That is why we say medals for you, madam. Is there anything else you can do? Read the list of awards below and see how many your household deserves."
Oh.
Passive aggressive.
A little bit.
"More medals for you, madam. And there's one medal for serving larger portions of vegetables than usual, because more are needed to get the same amount of nourishment that used to be had from the scarcer, concentrated kinds of food, serving 3 or 4 different kinds of vegetables at the same meal and dressing them up with different sauces to get variety." So different, but you can kind of see how beans on toast is related to like the bulking up on vegetables or trying new things and everything like that. And then, of course, you have like men. It's framed in the terms of they're protecting the good food, protecting the ability of people to have freedom and to eat at home. And you also even have in that mass observation database, you have a part in like a Welsh newspaper. It's a Heinz bean ad that says, "Fighting men eat Heinz baked beans." So this idea that men need to bulk up, this idea that women need to take care of them, this idea that men need to be breadwinners by fighting at the war. Breadwinners for the toast, for the beans on toast.
Hey.
And so like these capacities, the government framed them as going hand in hand, but then also you just have this double pressure on women, especially to make everything go okay. And that's kind of scary.
Yeah, definitely.
Really hard. So yeah, it's a great article.
Men should go get the beans.
I highly recommend men should go get the beans.
Go get the beans.
So yeah, there's just a lot of pressure on you're the one that needs to know how to make the food the best that it can be, or people are going to die and we're going to lose the war.
And it's your fault.
And so that's a lot of pressure on people, and that kind of double standard and double expectation.
Yeah.
This is the quote I was looking for. Quote, "Gail Braben and Penny Summerfield have rightly highlighted the double burden that housewives faced as they were tasked with supporting the needs of those in the home, including their consumption needs, while also being asked by the government to engage in some form of war work, whether voluntary or paid. Officials continually urge women to take care of their homes and families selflessly, and in doing so, they were seen to uphold their duty to the nation. According to Sonia Rose, quote, "The idea that a woman's obligation to her family was also an obligation to the nation was a frequently rehearsed theme that reinforced the conception that women's true position was in the private sphere of the household, performing their roles as mothers. As Goodman illustrates, this situation created a climate in which married women were praised by officials and society for their work in the home, including with the rations, while women's war work outside of the domestic environment was met with mixed public reaction." Ooh. And that Ministry of Food, those like recipe pamphlets I mentioned earlier, a lot of them have pictures of cute little skinny women like cooking the food. And so now there are commercials. Now we're going to get to some really interesting commercials in terms of gender. They're beans on toast commercials from the 70s and 80s. Oh. And they're a bit hilarious. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, give me just one moment. All right, everybody, here is this commercial for you.
Don't stop now. I'll get the tea. Won't be a minute.
Thanks, darling.
A million housewives every day pick up a tin of beans and say, "Beans, beans, Heinz."
What's taking so long? I finished the curtain.
There's no bread.
We had a loaf. Oh!
Well, I was busy watching the beans. Anyway, needs toast with these beans. A million housewives every day pick up a tin of beans and say, "Beans, beans, Heinz."
So I know you could only hear it.
You had to watch the beans?
Yeah, so I know you could only hear it. So I'm going to link the whole video and I'm going to explain what happened. But basically what happens is this man burns a whole loaf of bread.
Oh, how dare he?
Because he was watching the beans. Was
he just staring them down?
Yeah, his wife is doing like gendered work. She's making curtains. She's sewing. And he's supposed to be the good husband because he's like, oh, honey, don't stop working. I'll make us a meal. But he's so incompetent because of gender stereotypes.
Yeah.
That he's going to make beans on toast because it's supposed to be a simple, by the 60s, you know, everyone knows what it is.
Make a simple
it's supposed
meal.
To be a simple, easy meal. And he literally, like in the video, I want to show you, he burns a whole loaf of bread. He burns like an entire loaf of bread.
Like how bad? Give me a second. Oh.
Tell him about it.
I was busy watching the beans. Anyway.
Did you see the loaf?
Wait, I thought it was beef jerky.
No, that's the bread.
Why does he look like Jim Carrey?
He does.
I thought that was beef jerky.
No, that's
what way was he even cooking it?
That's the bread. So, if this commercial is not about gender roles and stereotypes, I do not know
what it is. It's not actually, just so you know.
Because the moment the roles are like flipped, it's like, oh, everything goes wrong.
Oh, stick to your role.
And it's like, yeah, because he's trying to make the beans right, so he loses attention of the toast and literally burns, because she says, but honey, we had a whole loaf. And he's like, oops. He's just like, oops.
Oh, sorry, babe.
Like basically glorified weaponized incompetence.
Oh, wow. But that's never been used before. Anyway.
And then at the end of the commercial, the husband tries to make a joke out of it and says, who eats these beans on toast anyway? So it's like by the 60s, it's an accepted enough thing that they can kind of make fun of it.
Hey, they're like, actually.
So this feeds into a very common trend in the 1950s and 60s for sitcoms and commercials or TV shows to kind of comment on gender roles in a comedic way. But the ways in which anything was subversive or starting to question the cult of domesticity is often like cushioned within this kind of humor or defanged by making it seem ridiculous when like men try to switch roles with women or do something that is quote unquote the woman's job. Then they typically end up messing it up or failing in pretty farcical or extreme ways, like burning an entire loaf of bread, or like there's the I Love Lucy episode where Lucy and her husband Rick switch places. That's the one, the famous chocolate factory one, where they're like, and everyone just thinks, oh, it's the cute little chocolate thing where they start like eating the chocolate. But if you think about it, it's kind of like subliminal messaging of like women don't belong in the workforce. They can't do it fast enough. And then on the other end, the thing that less people have seen is Ricky and Lucy's friend's husband. They're trying to do the women's jobs at home. And Ricky ends up cooking a pound of rice serving per person.
Oh.
Which is just like ridiculously wrong. Like even if you don't know how to cook, it's like the whole burning the whole loaf of bread thing.
Yeah.
Like even someone who's like the worst cook is often like a little bit better than that, you know?
Yeah.
And then the other husband is supposed to make a 6-layer devil's food cake, and it's 1 layer and looks like a flat pancake.
Oh.
So yeah, like people tried to make it funny and relatable, but it tries to make like a fluffy version of weaponized incompetence, basically.
Yep.
So yeah, it's really interesting. So it's weird at the same time because like the counter argument is also that like it does in a weird way also make women's roles seem more important at the same time by saying someone can mess it up. So even though it enforces gender roles, which I think is the bigger takeaway, I do think it's like interesting that like sometimes even unintentionally, I think at the time if you're a woman and having a hard time, that if you wanted to look on the bright side, you could be like, well, at least it makes me feel like I can do something that someone else can't.
It's like the roles are important where they are, but they should be the way they are, and you need to stick to it.
But it's the threat that's the dangerous thing and not a good thing. I just always like to look at both sides.
Yeah.
Now this one is about to get really wild.
Oh.
Like it's short. It's short, but the first time I discovered this commercial, I was like, is this real? Is this the real life or is this copyright? Right. Okay, I'm pulling it up. No. Oh my goodness, guys. The one I wanted to show you is hiding from me.
It's because it knew you called it crazy.
It did know that I called it crazy. Okay. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay, guys.
Did they take it off?
Oh, wait. I found it. No, I didn't.
Did they delete it?
Guys, I'm going to edit this out and post. No, they didn't delete it. I know where it is. I know where to find it. I know where to find it. You know who Margaret Thatcher is, right?
Yes. I had to talk about her. Isn't she the one that did like the anti-milk thing?
Yeah, she took away people's milk.
I talked about her on New Year's Eve because I met a girl that goes to Auburn, I think.
Mm-hmm.
She's an history major. And then I said, yeah, like Margaret Thatcher with the milk. And that's when I learned she's specifically like an American history major.
Oh, that's awesome.
She's a history and journalism. Anyway.
That's so cool.
She was like, what? And I said, milk.
This is going to have something with Margaret Thatcher. It would be crazy if they deleted it.
They're like, no.
They're like, no. Okay, here it is.
I wonder, if I ate enough Heinz baked beans, do you think I could become Prime Minister?
You just might, Margaret. You just might.
Millions of little Britons have grown
And then the
up
mom
great
takes
knowing
the beans away.
means Heinz.
I'm not even like fully sure what to do with this, but I felt like it needed to be on this episode.
Yeah.
But
that's why I'm not the prime minister, because I don't eat Heinz beans. Actually, I do, but
so she's eating Heinz baked beans, and they're on toast in the commercial. So they don't say it's on toast, but it's on toast commercial when she's eating them, and she's like, "You think I can become prime minister, mommy?"
No.
And then the mom is like,
"Well, you're a failure."
And then the mom looks scared all of a sudden and takes the beans away and goes, "You might."
Oh, so a woman can't be prime minister.
It's weird. It's a really weird, like, it just feels like so many gendered anxieties are coming out right there. Like Heinz Beans is trying to play it both ways of like, oh, like this young girl is becoming big and strong and has big dreams, like being prime minister, but the older generation is scared and it's questionable whether a woman is good enough to be prime minister because the mom at first is excited and is like, you might, and then takes the beans away. But also the commercial was like made while she was prime minister and she was unpopular. So I don't know if it's like also
it could be a fight back.
Like a little snare. But it's just very weird.
Yeah.
It's very, like I don't think it would be on today, you know? Like it's very weird where it both seems to be pro, like, oh, isn't it cool that this little girl wants to be prime minister? But then it's also like, we don't want this little girl to be prime minister. Or maybe just that the mom does it. Like it really allows the company to kind of be like, no, we were just saying that the older generation is behind. Like they can make these different claims.
Yeah.
But overall, it's kind of not super pro women.
Yeah. My brain keeps wanting to come up with like comparisons for US politics, but we're not going to.
Guys, we're not
going to jump into that.
We're not going to do that. And now we have some more. We have just a few more commercials. And I think you'll like these ones as well. But the Margaret was my favorite.
That's valid.
There is another one that I'm not going to show, but I'm going to attach that just has like a little animated women and husband, and they want to watch TV together and have a sweet night. And she doesn't want to have to spend so much time cooking. So she just goes and grabs beans on toast, and it's all cute and sexy.
It's so sweet.
And she's like just the little cartoon woman. They're just happy. They're just happy eating their little beans on toast. A little perfect domestic scene going on, you know.
Yeah.
Typical gender roles.
Totally.
Kind of thing. And then there's one. I don't know if you ever saw like the Bagel Bite commercials.
Maybe. Oh, I love Bagel Bites.
Like the Bagel Bite making mom is the cool loving mom, and like the other moms are lame, even though they're like home cooking for their kids. There's like this attempt to be like, no, like make the baked beans for your kids instead. And so there's this one that's kind of giving me that vibe.
6 eggs, large loaf, tin of Heinz beans.
The little kid's trying to remember what to get at the store.
6 tins, large. There was something else.
Very baked beans.
I know there's something else.
He just got baked beans. He forgot everything else.
Just what we wanted.
Thanks for giving us Heinz beans. Thanks for knowing what beans means. Thanks, Mum. Beans means Heinz.
So that's like the jingle is beans, beans, Heinz.
Beans means Heinz.
Oh, beans means. I heard beans, beans, Heinz. Beans means Heinz. No, it means ketchup. It means ketchup.
Beans means Heinz. But yeah, so the kid like forgets everything else, like the basics, like the bread and the egg at the grocery store, and just gets the Heinz baked beans. But the mom is like, that's just what we wanted. And then makes it, and it's like, thanks for making us Heinz beans. And it's like, Mom, you're the best. So it reminds me of the bagel bites, like the best moms give their kids Heinz beans. Your kid will love you. It's like guilt tripping the moms into
It's like, go get it.
yeah, it's like guilt tripping the moms of like,
Your kids
go
hate you
get
because you
it.
don't
Your
get it.
kids won't like you if you don't get it. You want to be the cool mom. A similar thing actually happened with peanut butter in the US, where Jif used to be the most unhealthy peanut butter, but they advertise themselves as the healthiest and guilt trip moms of like, your kid isn't getting healthy peanut butter unless you get Jif. And moms actually bought it more, even though it was more unhealthy.
I love Jif.
It's healthier now.
Perf. So
The
I'd be like,
moms,
am I dying because I eat Jif? Because I
No.
will. I'll go down with the ship.
the moms lobbied, but like they were just lying to moms. And then here's this really xenophobic commercial, so trigger warning.
Oh.
But this is the last one. The common market, by the way, is kind of like the European Union.
Join the common market that's somewhere overseas. Dad says that means we have to talk Dutch and Portuguese. We have to eat frog's legs and snails. But that won't bother me. Dad says we always have Heinz beans on toast. Keep written Heinz, Dad says.
Huh?
Beans, beans, Heinz.
It's colonialism.
What in the? We're gonna eat frog legs because the Dutch and the Portuguese.
But don't worry, he's always going to have beans on toast with
He
tea.
can keep his beans on toast.
So as you can see, it had by this point become a very stereotypical point of British identity, to the point that it was being used in xenophobic commercials.
That's insane. They can keep it. No one
And-
wants it.
Yeah, so it's very British. And as you can see, there's a lot of these gendered things like guilt tripping the mom and portraying typical domestic scenarios where the women are supposed to be happy cooking and serving their husbands. And when their husbands try to serve them, it goes all wrong. But there's also a lot of weird ads featuring men that just have to do with class and colonialism as well.
I have so many opinions. I hope that kid knows that, like, other countries now make a little bit of fun of British for beans on toast.
Like for revenge. Also, sorry for like the shouting in and out. That's just how the audio is because the kid couldn't regulate.
Goes,
He couldn't regulate it. So on our wrap up, I'm just going to kind of bring it back to the present moment. So weirdly enough, right, the Heinz Beans commercials from the like Heinz Beans people are like, hey, sorry, that's my beautiful classical music, guys.
I was wondering if you had like a wrap up sound.
No, it played just in time. Maybe we should keep it.
That was kind of a sleigh. I was like, oh, you have a wrap up soundtrack?
Maybe we should keep it, guys. If you liked it, vote for it or something. So yeah, like the Heinz commercials are like, if you want to be a good mom, you got to get Heinz. But according to a study that came out in Australia in 2017, which things have since changed, but it kind of recognized this perceived trend, which Australia isn't Britain, but they're influenced by each other, I would say.
Yeah.
And like some of the stereotypes is a lot of people have been guilt tripping single moms for feeding their kids beans on toast because they're like, that's not a very healthy meal. It's not a well-rounded meal. Like,
yeah,
they were being harsh, as people always are, on moms for some reason. It's always like, feed your kids this. Oh, well, now you're not letting them experience junk food. Oh, feed them this. Well, now you're not feeding them healthy enough. And so that kind of happened. But the study came out recently in Australia where doctors actually had said and determined that beans on toast is a balanced and complete meal due to its fiber and vitamin content.
Okay.
And that seemingly simple and silly recognition was really important to single moms in being able to justify their choices and feel more confident and validated on how they raise and feed their children under different and sometimes difficult circumstances. And although it's a 21st century study, I think it just goes to show the holdovers from the 20th century we have about like moms and parents and gender roles. And also like the class assumptions we have about cheap meals that people can't find ways to make them healthy.
Yeah.
And it's really like, it's important to recognize that study needed to be published for some of these mothers to feel okay about their feeding their children. And like, that's just crazy. Some people might be like, oh, it's silly, but it's really important. And yeah, it just goes to show how hard we can be as a society on people because of their gender roles or their familial roles, even when it comes to economic or family circumstances that are completely out of control. It also reveals that how beans on toast, which is a meal that can just be made out of bread and some food in a can get associated with certain class assumptions, health assumptions, and gender assumptions. And yeah, overall, it's just really frustrating and funny to see how commercials will both glorify and shame mothers at the same time, or society will glorify and then shame mothers at the same time. And they tend to have double standards on people and their ability to cook and need to cook and provide for people. And weirdly enough, all of that is just reflected in beans on toast.
There you go.
Yeah. And a couple more wrap up fun facts is that Captain Beanie, let me tell you about Captain Beanie.
Oh.
I tried to contact this man and I haven't heard from him yet, but maybe he's just busy. We don't know. But he's a man from Wales. He used to have a different name. And then he changed it to Captain Beanie legally. He made a political party of his own centered around beans.
Like the spaghetti monster.
Yeah. And he had a home museum in his house. It was just in his flat. Dedicated to beans and all the beans memorabilia. But he had to move. And then he sold it all on eBay. And I'm really sad I didn't get to like do a virtual tour of the museum or something.
Yeah. Maybe with a Wayback Machine.
Yeah. Maybe with the Wayback Machine. But he had an email and I tried to email him because I wanted to know like maybe if he had a personal story like the diarist about beans on toast. Because also people who are alive, like you can still talk to people who were alive during World War II and they probably have much more accurate information than I do about how this was actually experienced in everyday life. The closest we can get are those diarists and survey respondents. And he tattooed beans on his head for charity. You could pay like £1 million. Maybe it was 1,000 or 100,000 pounds, but you could pay like a large amount of pounds to have your name on the bean. And he tattooed beans with people's names on them on his head and then donated all of the money to charity.
That's sweet.
So Heinz beans are playing a big role in his life. The other fun fact is the word bean feast.
Oh.
A bean feast first used to be like a meal or entertainment provided for the employees of a workplace or employer, or a celebratory meal at which beans were served. So like when factories started, you know, the employees would be like, I guess I should feed these people. And beans were cheap and easy to make. And so they would feed them beans and they would call it a bean feast. And then it just started to be the meals provided by like factories or like companies or something like that for a large group. But it's also now used colloquially as like when people really party it up, or like started to be used colloquially around the mid 20th century, because at bean feast, people would get really drunk and stuff and just have a good time because it was one of their only days off in the year. And now a bean feast is just like, can be when people are partying it up like, oh, they're having a bean feast over there.
That's so British. That is one of the most British things. Having a bean feast of a time. So that didn't really fit necessarily into a specific part of the episode, but I thought that's interesting.
That you would want to know
so
about
British.
Bean feast. Yeah.
It is.
So yeah, this has been a brief history of beans on toast with a little bit of gender thrown in there, and also a PSA to put your sources when you write a blog or make a podcast or a company history page. If you do not put your sources, your information becomes much less useful, much less trustworthy. Because even if you did your due diligence, we can't know. So do it to get credit. And if you like beans on toast, go eat some in honor of this episode and reflect on what you've learned, or try it.
And if you don't like beans on toast, go eat some food with some spices in it. And think about how you are not eating it.
Bean.
Yep. And think about how you were grateful that you're not eating it.
Pilchards on toast or Welsh rarebit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I sincerely hope you learned something. Thank you for continuing to listen. please consider supporting me on Patreon if you are at all into this podcast. I do not get paid for this, and I want to keep it ad-free, and I want to keep doing it. So I would sincerely appreciate your support. I will keep making great content here and have some fun extras there for you once we get rolling. Who knows? I could be like the next Leonardo da Vinci. And then you could be like, I supported her.
Of beans.
Of beans. And also, don't forget that you can email me at albiontonight@gmail.com. I will answer your questions. I will get back to you, unlike Captain Beanie and the Heinz places.
That's a call out.
I will answer you. And also, you can ask me about things that you would be interested in doing an episode in. And if I can find enough on it, I will literally do my best to do an episode for you. Are you ready for next week's episode reveal? Drumroll. It's going to be a bonus episode where I brought on some friends to play a guessing game with some Victorian ads, many of which are for food and some ingestible substances. Although warning, some of the ads contain sexism, xenophobia, racism, or other such terrible sentiments, which I will make sure to discuss, dissect, and undermine afterwards. Understanding the legacy of our ideas is more important than ignoring them. But it's also really important to recognize all of the terrible, terrible damage they've done. But hopefully it'll be more fun and harmful.
I bet.
And you guys can play along at home too. So stay tuned for that. And then after that, we're going to have a really heavy episode about eating disorders. And their origins. So I'm shaking it up. I'm giving you some lightness and then some darkness.
It's a roller coaster.
It's a roller coaster. So stay tuned for that. I'll be on soon.
Bye.